covering all this is Bastien Renouil. He's in Nairobi for us, and he joins me now. Bastien, it seems that Sudanese people woke up this morning to yet another failed ceasefire.
Hello, Nadia. Yes, absolutely. I was on the phone yesterday with several civilians living in Khartoum, and they were telling me that they had very little hope that this new ceasefire could change anything after 4 previous attempts during the past 2 weeks. And today it seems that they were right. They tell me that the fighting continues at the moment, that they can still hear gunshots in the city of Omdurman, which is Khartoum, a twin city on the other bank of the Nile. They still say that they can still hear artillery and explosions in Khartoum city center. It seems that at the moment the army is trying to attack the presidential palace. So from what we understand, the army has the control of the headquarters of the military, which is located in the middle of the city between the airport and the presidential palace, and they're both under the control of the rapid support forces. So as far as we understand, the army is currently trying to retake the control of the presidential palace, but it's still very difficult to understand what is the situation on the ground, given that we do not have access to these locations, and that both the army and the rapid support forces are publishing conflicting information. So it's impossible to trust them to know who is controlling which building, which institution. So that's the situation in Khartoum, where millions of people are still stranded in their apartments and houses. Everywhere else in the country, the situation is a little bit different. It seems that in the regions of North Kordofan and of Darfur, there is no fighting at the moment between the army and the rapid support forces. But my contacts in the city of El Janina, located in West Darfur, a few kilometers away from the border with Chad, say that despite the fact that there is no fighting at the moment, rapid support forces members are still looting houses, are still targeting civilians. Some of them are still being killed by the rapid support forces. So you understand that the situation is still very tricky for all these civilians still stranded in the houses and in the cities affected by the fighting.
Indeed, Bastien, and we've been reporting that the United Nations is pushing for aid to be allowed into Sudan now. Clearly, though, there are major challenges with that, not least in terms of security, with several UN convoys having been looted.
Yes, Martin Griffiths, the Undersecretary of the United Nations for Humanitarian Assistance and Emergency Relief, is in Port Sudan at the moment. He's making phone calls to General al-Burhan, the head of the army, and General Hemeti, the head of the Rapid Support Forces. He's trying to meet the two men in Khartoum, but it seems that it's not possible at the moment. The idea is to organize a humanitarian corridor to bring aid to Khartoum and to Darfur, but it seems very difficult to organize. First, international organizations such as the UN or international NGOs have to bring aid to Port Sudan by a boat, which is already difficult to organize. And for that, they need the authorizations from the military, which apparently, from what we understand from several NGOs who are currently in Sudan, it's very difficult to get these papers. It seems that the army is a bit reluctant to help these NGOs. Once they get these authorizations, they have to reach Khartoum and other cities affected by the fighting, which is still very difficult because of the fighting, of course, but also because the situation is very volatile. As you said a few seconds earlier, 6 trucks belonging to the WFP, the World Food Programme, were attacked yesterday in Darfur. They had all the authorizations from the Rapid Support Forces and from the army to be there. They were attacked and looted. So you understand that it's still very difficult for humanitarian assistance to reach those in need. And many people really need this assistance at the moment. Hundreds of thousands of people are on the road, and millions of people are still stranded in Khartoum and in many other cities across Darfur, and many of them do not have food and water at the moment.
Bastien Renouil, thank you very much indeed.